As an atheist, how do you deal with death? For me, it's not as easy as that. I can't say, because I find myself in times of stress and fear, still hoping that there's someone or something that will answer and correct the world around me, make it better for me.
Fear is something that many people are led by. There's a fear of COVID, there's uncertainty about my job, my work. Will I get sick? Will I leave this world? There's a lot of that kind of fear going on, always was and always will be. But therefore there's a need to get a bit grounded and to go for an identity instead of the identity crisis that's so prevalent today.
When we look at the start of the story, death wasn't God's intention. He's a fan of life. He's grieved over death, which is why Jesus comes into the world and dies. From that, it's just the reminder that God is kind of the advocate and the fan of life. I've been at the bedside of people that die very traumatically and painfully. I understand that fear. And it's tough in those moments to be like, oh, let's celebrate death. It's just tragedy. But at the same time, I think in a belief that there's something beyond this life, in that regard, there should be some celebration.
Is it okay to be fearful of death? Of course it is. Of course it is. The death part's the easy part. There's all the other things that are underneath it. Speaking from a religious point of view, there's something after death. Life as we know it. How can we conceptualize it? The problem with death is that it's final. And to think that somehow everything won't disintegrate, that's what everybody would like.
There are certain destinations. When we perish, this anti-material particle ends up traveling into a new situation. And that situation would be, in most cases, another human birth. But that's what we mean by reincarnation. It's a kind of a recycling program where you are in a body, and then you age, and then you're in a new body, and you age and die, and there's birth, and as sure as there's birth, there's death. That's something that's for certain. I think you can only say that about a few things, that there's something that's always there. And our body that we achieve is it's shaped around, again, our destiny, our desire, and what we deserve. Yes, it's true that people if they feel a strong prospect that my next life is going to be improved, or I may end up in what some people call heaven or near good nirvana. Those people leave this world with greater hope.
I actually think other religions hold truth in a lot of different areas. But when you start to analyze stuff, you're like, wow, there's a lot of shards of truth that are shared among different faith backgrounds. I'm just a big fan of finding the agreement and then kind of hanging out from there and seeing what we can learn from one another. Again, in the Christian tradition, there's tons of diversity. And what the diversity reminds me of is the fact that we all know less than half of everything. Right? So, if it was always so clear, all Christians in all times would agree exactly the same on these topics. But other people believe that God is so in control, the day of your death is predetermined. But these are mysteries, right? And so what the Christian would say is that God certainly knows the day of your death. He is aware of the day of your death. Some Christians would say he predetermines it, but all would agree that at least he knows it.
if atheism is a way of both being kind and thoughtful and reflective of the world around one, then there's something good in it.
And for like a person who's like an atheist, okay, I don't really believe in a higher power. But one thing that I think we should all come to terms with is that I'm small, I'm pretty insignificant in this world. And that there's everything else outside of me, which is so greater than me. Then that should conjure up a sense of appreciation, gratitude.
I don't want to waste the next 25 years on worry or fear or pessimism. So I think the idea of death, what motivates me, is to just do life smarter and simpler. Don't take on extra baggage that you don't have control over anyway, because death is coming, man. Don't waste your life and don't waste your time.